A reading from the book of Genesis. The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a suitable partner for him." So the Lord God formed out of the ground various wild animals and various birds of the air, and he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Whatever the man called each of them would be its name. The man gave names to all the cattle, all the birds of the air, and all wild animals, but none proved to be the suitable partner for the man. So the Lord God cast a deep sleep on the man, and while he was asleep, he took out one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. The Lord God then built up into a woman the rib that he had taken from the man. When he brought her to the man said, "This one at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. For this one shall be called woman, for out of her man this one has been taken." That is why a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two of them become one flesh. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
It is not good for the man to be alone. We have no problem acknowledging that this is true, that God is speaking to us truly here. Experiences of loneliness, of isolation, unsettle us. They can frighten us. And a good example of this would be our use of things like social media, texting, even email sometimes. We're constantly searching for sources of connection. We're always reaching out, looking for relationship with people around us, with people in our lives. Now, our reading today is from Genesis. This means origin. And we're dealing in the reading with the origin of humankind. We often think about the origin in terms of time, and we start kind of looking back 6,000 years, hundreds of thousands of years, even further. But it's going to be more helpful for our purposes to think about it in terms of the origin, sort of the essence or the meaning of man. Something not associated necessarily with time, but the foundation that we come up from. So the reading is dealing with the essence of man, and that leaves us addressing the question, who are we? God's answer, through the author of Genesis, is that we are made for relationship. It is not good for the man to be alone. Now, the account in our reading is sometimes called the second account of creation, and in the book of Genesis, it's paired with another account. And in that account, in that first account, it says that we are made in the image and likeness of God. And we get sort of a positive formulation of, it is not good for man to be alone, when we consider what it means to be made in the image and likeness of God. Because God is a Trinity. He is an eternal communion of persons. He is a loving relationship. And so we are made in the image and likeness of an eternal loving relationship, a communion of persons. With this in mind, it's no wonder that marriage, the union of man and woman, is a powerful sign and expression of this truth. We are made in the image and likeness of God. It's not good for us to be alone. This is fulfilled and exalted in beautiful expressions of it. Many of us know families, couples who live out love for one another in a beautiful way, and we approach them with a sort of awe and wonder about the way that they're living together, the way that they're serving and loving one another. C.S. Lewis paints a very vivid and beautiful image of this, the fulfillment of man in relationship, in the second book of his space trilogy. It's called Pearlandra. Pearlandra is a planet where there's no fall. So he's exploring what it would be like for there to be a planet with no fall. There's a man and a woman, sort of an Adam and Eve character. And at a certain point in the narrative, Adam and Eve, so to speak, are about to enter into a setting where many of the animals of creation are gathered and angels are there. They're entering in sort of as the missing piece, uniting the creation. And they're on this mountaintop. So you can picture the scene. Animals of every kind ranged about, and angels hovering nearby. We've had plenty of discussion of the angels in the last few days, so I'm trusting the pictures there. Lewis says, as Adam and Eve enter in, paradise itself in its two persons, paradise walking hand in hand, its two bodies shining in the light like emeralds, yet not themselves too bright to look at, came in sight. They appear in the scene and they light it up. It's complete. This speaks to us, our hope, our joy, our peace, these deep longings that we have as humans. They respond to this scene described in Pearlandra. They respond to beautiful wedded couples that we know, to amazing family settings that we've shared in life with. And it's amazing because this answer is depicted in the story as something so simple. It's a man clinging to his wife. The two of them have become one flesh, just as it says in our reading. Now we're left with one more question. What about us? What about all these guys in white? We're not living in that marital communion. In religious life, our way of living is for the people who are choosing to have God to be that one that we're clinging to, so that instead of clinging to a wife, instead of clinging to a husband, we cling to God Himself. This is beautiful and it's a great vocation because in eternity, in heaven, that's actually what everyone's going to be doing. All of us will be united in a spousal way to God. And so we celibates actually are just choosing to start living that way here on earth. The powerful thing to consider in the end is that all of us are going to cling to God in love. And God, Trinity, the transcendent eternal one, is everywhere. And therefore, we are never alone.